Hey guys, KRX here with another review. This time I'll be re-reviewing the Samurai Henkei Deluxe DaiKai Oh from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. This is Shinken Gold's second origami that he made himself, as well as his main mecha. So this set, it consists of two main parts, the origami itself, Ebi origami, and the Ebi disc that's attached by default. So we'll start by taking a look at Ebi origami. Mainly gold, orange, and dark blue, Ebi origami is a lobster, though Ebi in Japanese can mean both lobster and shrimp. But a shrimp origami wouldn't be very intimidating. So just right off the bat you can tell that on its own it's very big. Just for a size comparison, here's Shishi origami, and you can tell just by looking at it that it absolutely dwarfs Shishi origami as well as a lot of the other ones. Now on this there are a lot of details. Starting off with the head, you can see a bunch of little crinkles and lines to it. The two silver antennae, and some painted green eyes. Moving to the front, we have the two claws, which have mostly gold, with the inner pincers being orange. And I'll admit, though it's not quite like that when you see it in person, the orange and gold kind of blends in on my camera. You have this nice kind of sun ray design on the back. Our first instance of this dark blue for the waist piece. On the tail, it's got gold on the top and blue on the bottom, with 6 little parts of chrome silver, 3 on each side. And then the tail fin, which has this nice glittery sticker. And just by looking at it, you can tell that it looks like origami because you have just all these crinkles and places where it looks like paper's been folded up. Also has a little bit of articulation while it's in origami mode. You can move the claws up and down, open and close them, move the tail fin up and down, and it has a little bit of a wiggle just because of the way the joint works. On the bottom you also have a couple of sets of little legs. You have a couple of front legs and then these 6 back legs. And as you can see, each set of 3 is attached to the same piece. Now one thing that a lot of people have complained about with Ebi origami is balance. Basically the thing is that normally it only balances on this point right here, and so it doesn't have the greatest balance. Now one way I found to kind of counteract that is that when laying it on a flat surface, just lower down the claws, and in general, that actually helps it keep its balance. As you can see, moving it a little bit to the left or right doesn't cause it to fall over. And in general, having these claws down does act as a couple of more points of balance, so it gives it more stability. Another thing you can do while in origami mode is it has a cool gimmick wherein you can open up the claws and then attach a couple of hidden discs onto them. So for example, I could use the Sushi disc and Ika disc. And so those just go in like so. and that lets it do the Fudomaki Korin attack, or Fudomaki Halo. Now what Fudomaki is a form of sushi, a type of sushi, and it's essentially a larger version of what Americans typically call California rolls, which are cylindrical rice with some vegetables in the middle, then wrapped around on the sides with seaweed, or nori. And what you can also do is that when the claws are open, you can actually rotate the discs, just like so. Now, besides the balance, I guess the only other thing that's kind of a disadvantage with the origami mode is how the claws have all these screw holes poking out of them, but that just couldn't be helped, as one side had to have some screws in it. Probably the most unique thing about this is that this is the first in the Shinkenger mech line to have electronic lights and sounds. So the on and off switch is right here, and the button is right here. So switching on, it'll announce its name. And looking around here, there's actually light that comes out from behind the head. Now pressing the button, you'll get one of 4 sounds randomly. Ebi Origami's cry, a low-pitched snapping sound, a low-pitched cry, and Ebi Origami snapping its claws. As you can see, it is truly random, and with each press of the button, the light does shine. So, to start the transformation, actually before I get to that, I'll show off the disc. So to get at the disc, you have to take this part and lift it up, then detach the disc like that. On the inside, you can see this pattern here, which is kind of like a compass, and the upper part, which has the battery compartment, and this just takes a couple of button cell batteries that are included, so just to play with it, you just have to open it up and pull out the tab, and that's ready to go. So here's the Ebi disc, and unlike most of the mecha discs, the animation is a printed-on sticker. And so as you can see, it's an animation of Ebi Origami opening and closing its claws. And what you also notice is that it has this red arrow here. And that lines up with this arrow here, meaning that there's only one way to place it in. Actually, because of that, the Ebi disc is the only disc that will fit on here. Now, while the animation is a printed-on sticker, or an applied sticker, this also has molded-on detail, and that's on the other side. So this is a little preview of DaiKai Oh and its gimmick. The gimmick is face swapping. What you have here are 4 different faces, and each one of them represents a cardinal direction on a compass. You have north, east, west, and south. Or north, south, east, and west. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail, I'm just kind of showing you what they look like here. The actual detail of each mode will come once I transform it. So just setting it back in there, and closing up, we can start the transformation. So to start off, fold forward the tail, and detach the tail fin. Split up the legs and they'll spring apart. Then rotate them outward so the gold is on the outside and the blue is on the inside. Then rotate around the feet like so. Moving around to the back. Lift up the back legs. And attach this onto here via this connector. And then place these back down. Going around to the front. Fold down the two front legs so that they're flat against the top. Then take the claws and fold them all the way down. Fold around again. Take the claws and fold them up onto the shoulders. Then take the head part and detach it, and they'll activate the transformation sound for DaiKai Oh. Then split these up. And take them, making sure that the connector goes into the clip. Like so. Attach them onto the back. Although the orientation is easy just when you remember that these blades have to be facing downwards. And so turning around, there you have DaiKai Oh. Now each mode has its own sound, so to activate the mode sounds you have to switch it to that specific face. So for the first mode, what I'm going to do is just spin it all the way around. And so, first off, we have DaiKai Oh Higashi, or DaiKai Oh East. So with each of them, they have a kind of, well, they have an announcement phrase that is a little bit of a play on words with the kanji. So for DaiKai Oh Higashi, it says To Higashi. Now, To is kind of like a kiai, or an action call. But it's also a different reading of the kanji for East, Higashi. And so with each of them, the face has the kanji for that direction on the forehead, as well as the unique face design that kind of incorporates, well, their gimmick for that mode. So for DaiKai Oh Higashi, what you'll notice is that the sides of the face resemble a couple of claws. And so in this mode, you can use the lobster claws, here called the ebibasami, or lobster scissors. So those just flip down like that. You can raise them up and open and close them, just like so. And in this mode, its special attack is the ebibasami honte gaeshi, or lobster scissor expert return. An interesting thing to note is that, as far as the arms go, on their own, they're rather short and kind of stumpy. And yet, the claws add a lot of bulk to the shoulders, as well as a little bit of armor to the arms themselves. And then you also get these very large arms when you have the claws extended. And each one also has its own sound. So for DaiKai Oh Higashi, the sound is the claws snapping. And in any mode, if you hold down the button, you'll get a special sound. And that will be explained at a later date. So for the next mode, go around to the back, detach the two halves of Ebi Origami's head, fold them up like so, and they become the ebigatana, or lobster swords. And attach them in the hands and make sure that this part is on the inside, so that the silver part of the blade, or the whole part, is on the outside. Then turn it this way. And you get DaiKai Oh Minami, or DaiKai Oh South. So for this one, Nanto means, or either Nan or Nanto also means south, but also can mean what? Kind of what the heck, or something like that. And so for this one, it has the kanji for south on the face. And it kind of seems like the two halves of this visor are meant to be like a couple of twin sword blades. And so this, of course, it's equipped with the ebigatana. And his attack is the ebigatana daimyo oroshi, or ebigatana daimyo fillet. And so for this one, it has a twin sword slashing sound. For the next mode, detach the ebigatana, reattach them to the back, lift up these parts and attach the tail fin. Then take the horns on the top of the head and fold them all the way back. Then equip this in its right hand and rotate the head again. So there we have DaiKai Oh Nishi, or DaiKai Oh West. For this one's phrase, it's a little bit of a pun on Chinese reading, as Osha, or Sha, is another reading for Nishi, or West. So with its face, you have the kanji for West, and the face is designed to look like a fan, which is its weapon, this iron fan. And this is kind of one of the only problems I have with DaiKai Oh, as far as the robot mode goes, which is how it holds the fan. In the show, what it actually does is that it has a handle from the bottom and then it holds it like so. And what I wish was that there was some kind of fold-out handle that you could then put in the sword so it's holding it right. And this is not even something that the American version of this corrected. So you can use that to kind of swing its fan like that, and actually this is a defensive form that it uses to deflect projectiles thrown at it. So you have two different sounds, one fan swipe and then two fan swipes. And if you want, you can kind of time it. And for the final mode, detach this, put it back on, and fold the horns back up. And then we're going to bring in Ika Origami. So putting this back on, we'll leave it open, then separate these two sections, take this and fold down the legs and snap them together, pull out this handle, and attach it to the right hand, then take this piece and using this connector on the back, attach it to the chest. And then rotate the head again. So here we have DaiKai Oh Kita, or North, more commonly known as Ika DaiKai Oh. So in this mode, it wields Ika origami as a spear, has the kanji for North on the face, and as Ika origami is used for electric attacks and can draw in electricity to itself, the face is meant to look like bursts of electricity. Now, this doesn't really hold it all that much. If you try to fold it down, which you kind of have to lift it up to do, it just kind of holds it like that. It can also only hold it with one hand just because it doesn't have any kind of wrist rotation. And then you also have this shield piece that attaches on it to make a new chest plate. And the thing about that is it's not really tight on. Because it's on a rotation joint similar to that of the arms, it doesn't always hold in place. Now, interestingly, Ika DaiKai Oh has 3 different sounds to it, and all of them can kind of be seen as special attack sounds. And you also extend out the top part of the spear, so it can perform its special attack, the Yariika Tokkan, or Spear Squid Crash. It's certainly a nice combination, and as far as display purposes go, this does allow you to display them both together. And also of note is that this kind of helps out with displaying it if you are displaying it on a carpet. Because on its own, DaiKai Oh doesn't have that much balance, unless it's on a flat, hard surface. On carpet, it has a tendency to just fall over. But as Ika DaiKai Oh, this acts as a balancing arm, so that it doesn't fall over. And so then we can take it, detach Ika origami, put it back to normal, and then return it to DaiKai Oh Higashi. So overall, DaiKai was a great buy. Now there is one more. Now, what I'll say is, I'm just going to talk about it on its own and with Ika origami, as this does have other combinations it can do, including one with Henkei. But that'll be for a different video. So as far as DaiKai Oh goes, this is a great buy. As I've shown, it is really big and seems like it could be close to the size of real lobsters, which is actually pretty cool. It has a very nice aesthetic to it. The color scheme definitely works, and the orange is actually part of its color scheme in the show, so it's accurate. It's also cool that it has lights and sounds, and the fact that it has these 4 different modes to display it in is very fun. It also makes nice use of Ika origami, as that is a pretty interesting looking combination. I mean, even if you don't have any other mech, this is still fun on its own, just because it has so many play options, and it is very well designed. And when you combine it with others, it gets even better. So with this being a mecha, it probably goes for a little bit more than something like Ika origami would on the aftermarket. But, just if you're going to go for it, just try to look for a good deal. I can definitely recommend this. Just by itself, or along with other origami. Because overall, it is definitely fun. So stay tuned for my next video where I'll be showing off the combination of Henkei, as well as a combination Henkei has with DaiKai Oh, which I won't be reviewing for reasons I'll explain there. And thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more videos. For now, this is KRX50, riding off.